Hey guys, it's Janie. Welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. It is time for my April wrap-up. Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to new subscribers. April wrap-up. Where did the month of April go? I have no idea, but it went by quickly. But in that month, I read 9 books, so I did fairly well. Let's just jump right in and get started. So the first book that I finished, that I actually started the 30th of March. It was, or March 31st, something like that. And I finished it in April, I think like April 1st. And that's Losing Hope by Colleen Hoover. This is just book 2 to the Hopeless Duology. And we're reading this now through Holder's eyes. Sky and Holder become a couple in the first book, and then now you just read everything that happened through Holder's eyes. A lot of people don't feel like it's necessary to have a switch of POV, but I kind of like it because, when you read the first one, you're wondering why people do what they do or say what they say, and then you read through their point of view, then it makes things a little more clear. So I really, really enjoy the second point of view. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. I ended up rating this one 4 stars. The next book that I read is An Evil Mind by Chris Carter. Again, you guys, fantastic. In this one, there's like this freak accident, and they get the guy that did it all and find out that there's been murdering going on for 25 years. And, you're just following the whole case as you're following Robert Hunter. And, yeah, it was another really good one. Again, another 5-star read. Really enjoyed that one. The next book that I read was 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. Now, I heard that this was not a great book by Peter Swanson. I thought it was okay. He's a very tame writer. It's nothing like reading the Chris Carter book. So this was kind of a plummet as far as drama goes, from going from An Evil Mind to this one. But if you like Agatha Christie writing, I feel like this is among that level. It's tame. But funny that I should say that, because in this book you've got Malcolm, and he compiles this list of the most unsolved mysteries, and some of those mysteries were Agatha Christie's, so it got the name of 8 Perfect Murders. But somebody finds this list and starts killing in the way that these books, the murders happened, is pretty much what the story is. So I mean, it wasn't a bad story, it just, it lacked the drama for me. Like I said, if you enjoy Agatha Christie and you like the tamer side of things, then you're going to love this book by Peter Swanson. That one got 3 stars. The next one that I read was Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This is book 2 in the Twisted series. I was really excited to read this one because I really liked Reese, the bodyguard from the first book. He was guarding one of the characters in this story. Well, this one is now his story, and now he is the bodyguard to a princess, and her name is Bridget. And Bridget's one of those people, she's a free spirit, she doesn't think things she does is going to harm her, and blah, blah, blah. Well, of course, Reese is a bodyguard, and he takes his job seriously. And then sparks start to fly between them, and then I just feel like Reese just turns into a jerk. There's a lot of BDSM in here, and I felt like if it would have said BDSM on the cover, I probably wouldn't have picked it up to read it. But I feel like I was misled in that manner. But, I liked the characters in the story in the beginning, before the sparks began flying. But I feel like he was very degrading to her, and I feel like it was okay with her. That's not even the kind of story it was supposed to be. So it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of turned me off when I started seeing the other side of Reese, and I didn't really care for that part. I gave it 3 stars because the story did start off good. I really enjoyed Bridget's character until she turned into this naive whatever, and Reese turned into a jerk in my eyes. And it was just, it was just the role play part of it, and I just didn't care for it. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to continue and read the other 2 books, because I feel like the first one was almost the same way. So, yeah. Alright, the next book that I read was A Court of Thorns and Roses. This one started off kind of slow for me. And you guys know, if you've been following me, that I loved the Throne of Glass series. This one started slow, but let me tell you, it did get better. It did pick up. We got Feyre, who is a huntress, and she's the only one that's taking care of her family. So the one day she goes out and she's hunting so the family can eat, because, her parents her dad is pretty much worthless. And her sisters are just in their own world. Like, they think that Feyre is the one that's fated to do all this work for the family, I guess. Anyway, she goes out and she's hunting, and she ends up killing a wolf, which seemed near impossible. The wolf happened to be a fae, and there's a treaty in play that if you kill one of the fays, because Feyre is a human, and then you either are killed or you have to go over there and live in their land and stay there, is kind of what the treaty was. And she meets Tamlin, and the story just goes on from there. I mean, probably everybody's already read this book, so I'm not too concerned about giving a spoiler out. But I really did enjoy it. It did take a bit to get going, but I really like the characters. So I gave this one 4 stars. I'm looking forward to the second one, and we'll see where it goes from there. The next book that I read was Hidden Pictures by Jason Pekulik, and this one was fantastic. To me, it was great. I absolutely loved it. It was not anything like I thought it was going to be at all. So you've got Mallory, who has been a drug user, and now she's been sober for many years, and it's time for her to move on, take care of herself, get a job, her own place, that kind of stuff. So her sponsor finds Ted and Carolyn, who are looking for a nanny for their son Teddy. And so she goes there, and surprisingly she gets it, because Dad is acting like she was a drug user. Is she safe? Blah, blah, blah. Well, Carolyn says, yes, we're going to do this. And so she gets the job. Teddy loves art. He draws all the time and gives pictures to her and gives pictures to his parents and blah, blah, blah. And he also has an imaginary friend as well. Just let me throw that in there. But anyway, the pictures start turning a little darker. And she's concerned. His parents are not concerned. And the story goes on from there. I really enjoyed it. And I feel like the illustrations, the drawings in here that Teddy does, really makes the book great. Because it's another story within the story. And I absolutely love that part of it. I could be, given a 5-star, and maybe I'm a little generous on that part, but I really enjoyed it. It was just the kind of book that I needed, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. If you've not read this one, I recommend it. Okay, the next book I read on my Kindle was Midnight Strikes. This is by Zeba Shana, I think is how you say it. In this book, you have Anais. She is that's the main character that we're following, and her and her family are going over to this kingdom, and she's looking for a suitable husband, and the castle gets attacked, the kingdom gets attacked, everybody dies, and then she wakes up at home, and it repeats over and over and over. And she's got to find a solution to this and how she can stop it. And I was really enjoying the story until the ending, and I looked at my husband and I'm like, there better be a book 2, because I'm not understanding why this is ending the way it's ending, and it's really upsetting to me. It was disappointing. So there better be a book 2, because otherwise I'm going to be very upset. I ended up giving that book a 3.5-star rating. That could possibly go up if there is a second book. We'll see what happens with that. But, I mean, it is definitely worth reading. And I recommend that you read it, but just be prepared. It felt unfinished to me, so we'll see. Okay, after that book, I read Cut Short, and this is by M.W. Craven. This is 3 short stories to the Washington Post series. It's a 3.5, and it's 3 short stories. They were called The Killing Field, Why Don't Sheep Shrink, and Dead Man's Fingers. And this is just 3 short stories between Washington Poe and Tilly. And they were just really cool stories. I really enjoyed them, like short mysteries. So, yeah, that one was really good. I ended up rating that 4 stars. And then the last book that I read of the month was The Longing of Lone Wolves by Lana. And I looked this up, how to say that, and now I can't remember how to even pronounce it. So, bad on me. Maybe I'll put it down here where the pronunciation, just so you guys know how to say it. Anyway, this book, it came up on my Goodreads feed, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really good. A little bit later, I bought the book, and just now reading it, absolutely loved this story. In this story, you have Rush and Clark. Those are the 2 that we're following. Clark is a woman who comes from post-apocalyptic times in Nevada, in Las Vegas. She finds herself washed up on the shores of this beautiful Fey territory. And that's when she meets Rush. Now, Rush was cursed to where nobody can see him because of one act that, you know, he kind of had control over it, but didn't have control over it. So one horrible act, and he gets cursed, and nobody can see him. It's like he's dead. It's like he's a ghost. But he can still move about and act like he's not. It's just nobody can see who he is, except for Clark. Clark does actually see him. The story ensues, and it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it, you guys. I didn't give it 5 stars, but I did give it 4 stars, and I feel like it was deserving of the 4 stars. Really great story. There's 2 more in this one, but there's a whole universe that surrounds this. Yeah, it's a whole big universe. So there's several different series that belong to it. And that is what I read in the month of April. I think I did really well. Not reading like I used to, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to tame it down a little bit and do other things. And it's working out well for me. So if you've read any of these books that I talked about today, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.